Welcome to BNOW for the week of, well, actually, it's May 31st, Tuesday, May 31st. I'm Don McLeod, and we talk about, discuss what is happening in and around Brampton in the Peel region. So first off the top, we're going to talk about, we're going to have our rapid fire things that we're going to talk about, a couple of minutes each topic. We're going to start off with Brampton University. It's something that we talked about last week. We're going to expand on it because there's a special meeting tonight at 7 o'clock at City Hall, and we'll get into that in a minute. And that covers Brampton University. Brampton University, they're doing an audit. Apparently they want a forensic audit on this. What's going on, Faz?
You're supposed to introduce me, Don.
Oh, you're joining the conversation? Okay.
Because I'm the timekeeper for rapid fire.
All right, okay, we're good. Well, okay, so Faz, what's our rapid fire topics this week?
The first topic, Don, is Brampton U. Here we go. When you see me again, you better be wrapping it up.
All right. Brampton U. So we're going to talk about this in regards to, there's a special meeting tonight and at City Hall. We'll talk about that in a minute. Brampton U, they're doing a forensic audit. 3 councillors apparently appointed themselves last week as forensic auditors, and along with the CAO, because apparently the CAO and the internal workings of our City Hall can't actually do anything about this. So they're hiring an outside firm. 3 of those councillors, Jeff Bowman, Martin Medeiros, and Pat Fortini, are overseeing who are they going to use. Don't know why they need to do this. Deloitte and KPMG are 2 of the biggest forensic audit firms. It would be a no-brainer. I don't know who they're going to pick, but apparently they have the wherewithal and the intelligence to pick an audit firm, and nobody at City Hall, including the CEO, does. So the 3 councillors are going to oversee it, and they're going to be investigating any fraud connected with the $600,000 or so dollars that the city gave to this firm to actually lobby the provincial government for Brampton University. This file has been kicking around for so long. I remember when Susan Fennell was the mayor, Brampton U was on the timetable, and she asked city staff to put a proposal together. They put a proposal together, but they filed it too late. That was the first thing that went wrong with this Brampton University. And ever since then, it's been a debacle. But here's the thing, $600,000 for an audit, or not an audit, but to actually pay someone to put together a proposal, lobby the provincial government, so on and so forth. That's part and parcel of how you get a university. I don't understand. You're spending $1 million on a decrepit, falling down barn, but you're going to do an internal audit on $600,000 plus. There was no RFP issued for this. It's going to be over $100,000. They bypassed the RFP process as well, right?
Time's up, Don. Time's up.
All right, next.
We did have a comment from our one and only Mike Dempsey. He's calling in on his
hire citizen auditors. Well, Mike, that's not a bad idea. We'll keep that in mind.
I have a calculator.
Okay, Karen says the university can be in the barn. Yes, that's a possibility. It could be an agricultural university, and we could actually take the $1 million barn, which is going to cost more than $1 million, put it in the barn, and then we'd be fine. Thank you for that suggestion. Okay, next up.
Next topic. Here we go, Don.
Special council meeting tonight at 7 p.m. Apparently, this one I didn't find out about till last minute, but apparently the block of 6 councillors that has been operating independently decided to call a special meeting tonight at 7 p.m. If you want to tune in, you can go to the city website and you can catch it. There was no notice. Why was there no notice on social media from any of these 6 councillors that this special meeting was called? If 6 councillors are getting together, that's a quorum. Does that not have to be in a space where the public can actually ask questions before the meeting is even called? I'm not sure this is even, it's something that goes on a regular basis with the 6. But why no notice? Why no notice on any of these 6 councillors' social media that this meeting was called? And one of them is they're going to give a forensic audit update on the Brampton University, which I just talked about. So in my mind, they're going to be talking about who they're going to give the contract to. But at the same time, I guarantee you there's going to be no dollar figure attached to this audit. They're not going to, as I said before, the RFP basically was not issued. They decided to bypass that. So anything over $100,000 that the city goes out and gets for any kind of services, they need to put an RFP together. They bypassed this. So the 3 councillors and the CEO are going to basically just appoint somebody on the whim to do this audit. and you won't know what it cost until the bill comes in.
All right. That's pretty good timing there, Don. Next
Okay.
topic is Ward 7 and 8, Councillor Charmaine Williams.
This is on the special meeting tonight as well. So the councillors decided to put this on the special meeting. And as you know, basically we have an election on June the 2nd, and Charmaine Williams, who is city councillor, Ward 7 and 8, she's running against Sarah Singh, who is the incumbent, and she's running for the Conservative Party. If she wins in that riding against Sarah Singh, that seat needs to be vacated. So here's the thing. When that seat gets vacated under city or municipal bylaws, there's a certain number of things that can be done. If it's 90 days before an election, the city doesn't need to appoint anyone, but they can appoint people. If it becomes vacant, right, after March 31st on a regular election, the seat may be filled by an appointment. So the city council can actually appoint someone to sit in Charmaine's seat until the next election. And the vacancy occurs 90 days before, municipality is not required. So what they're looking at here to do is basically preempt something and say, well, we're going to lose our block of 6 because right now it's 6-5. The block has 6, the others have 5. So if Charmaine Williams gets elected on June the 2nd for the Conservatives, that has to be vacated. She can vacate that, right, anytime after. And she could say, fine, I'm giving up the seat. When that happens, city council can decide to fill that seat with anyone. How do they pick the criteria? All the person has to fill that seat. It could be anyone as long as they fit the criteria and is not an axe murderer, basically, right? So it'd be interesting to find out what they're proposing in this regard, because the election hasn't even happened yet. So they can't even do anything. All they can do is talk about what if. And it's a lot of ifs. So that's something to look forward to tonight. You can tune in at 7 p.m. Like I said, go to the city website. You can click on it. You can find out what's going on. But it's a sneaky move by the Block of 6 to discuss 2 things that city, I bet you 99.9% of the city does not know about.
Don, by the way, we got a comment from the last show that we had the date wrong when we had Ruby Soda up, and I just noticed I had it wrong again.
So it's May 31st?
I fixed it. It's now May 31st. It was saying May 17th.
Okay. Well, I thought I saw May 31st on the beginning.
We have our first contender for Ward 7 and 8 City Council replacement. It is Mike Dancy.
Mike Dancy. Mike would be a good, how would I say, sideshow. It would be a good sideshow.
Yeah, I think everybody would probably get not free. He will do the job for free, but he's probably going to sell all the councillors one of his laptops.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not a bad idea. Anyway, moving on. We got some other stuff to talk about that's going on. We're talking about the elections. Obviously, June the 2nd is a big one. There's a whole bunch of candidates that are running across Brampton, as we know. But
so there's 3 elections, Don. There is the provincial election happening June 2nd. Have you voted for that yet?
No, I'm waiting till June 2nd.
Well, there was all these days you could have voted ahead.
I could have, but I was busy. But I have June 2nd on my calendar. I will be voting.
Who are you voting for?
I'm voting for the person I think that basically, is good for the job.
So you're just gonna go like. Okay, and then on Friday, which I think is more important, is that's the last day to sign up as a member,
right,
to vote on who is going to become the national leader of the Conservative Party of Canada. So
yeah, that's a big one. I know that Patrick has been running across the country, up and down and sideways, signing up memberships. I think basically he's a force to contend with. I think a lot of people dismissed him early in the. Karen, you voted, good girl, right?
I know who she voted for or didn't vote for. It wasn't Doug Ford.
No, that's the thing. In this provincial election, it's you're not voting for the person. You're voting for the head of the party. The person doesn't have any. You take a look at the 2 MPPs that we got after the provincial election. Pragmeet Sarkaria and Sandhu. Pragmeet, we've already had talks to. I like him. He's a nice guy. He's honest and everything else. but he's got no say in what Doug Ford does and what he's doing. The vote that they first took, they canceled the university, they canceled the Peel Memorial Hospital plan that they had, the Liberals had. You know, they weren't in the legislature to vote. I mean, they're nice guys, but it's like they mean nothing. It's a party system, which is an unfortunate part of what we have going on in the provincial and the federal level.
Well, it's a tough election for all the parties in Brampton because like the Liberals were demolished last time, and so the people are running now, nobody knows who they are. The leader is the least charismatic of any politician I've seen in the last 4 decades. And then on the NDP side, there has been nothing new from the NDP. They just keep complaining about high car insurance price and the lack of hospitals in Brampton, but that's all they do is complain. There's no effort to fix it. And I know they're not the government, so it's hard to do, but it's like you got to do more than want to complain.
Well, I agree. I mean, at some point in time, I mean, I know that we're going to talk about this as well. Jagmeet Singh was in town, and there was a video circulating across social media that he attended a rally for Kaur, K-A-U-R, who was running in Brampton. She's an NDP candidate, and some of the people there were they were talking. They were Sikh, and he was running away. He went into his car and he took off, basically, right?
Well, I don't think he was running away. I think he was being chased, right?
Because yeah, I think they were kind of harassing him. It's
vulgar.
Like,
yeah, it was harassment.
Yeah, it's like, they were yelling, "I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you." But it's you have East Indians and Punjabis running for whether it be conservative, liberal or NDP, and that kind of thing, ripping down signs and everything else. I mean, it gets volatile, and it's not what, if I would Jagmeet too, it's like, why are you there? But at the same time, I question Jagmeet. Why is he coming back to Brampton to help an NDP provincial candidate? It's like Trudeau coming, to support Harinder Mali. I mean,
yeah, it makes no sense, right?
Yeah, I don't understand why he came back. Yes, he was an MPP at Queen's Park with Andrew Horwath, but that's a long time ago, right? And I don't think he's that popular in Brampton as he was before he left right now because of the situation he corresponds with Trudeau. I mean, he's propping up Trudeau and the government, but at the same time, you take a look at his Twitter and then he complains about things. It's like, well, dude, you just helped Trudeau put this in place, right?
I think if Jagmeet had stayed in the provincial NDP party, he'd be running as the leader in this election. And I think he would be very compelling, right? And because he can really stand his own with somebody like a Doug Ford.
I think so too. I think I think he was out of his depth when he went. I mean, he went in there and he got the leadership, but I think he was out of his depth, and I think that.
Well, I think it was courageous for him to do that, but Canada's not ready for Jagmeet Singh. I'll be honest, right? We saw the reaction to that video we did in 2017. Canada, unfortunately, there are a lot of people who don't want somebody like a Jagmeet Singh being prime minister. I don't blame him for doing it. I'm glad he did it. He's leading the way. But again, I think he could have been premier of Ontario.
Well, you got to lead the way, right? I mean, all I see is Jagmeet not leading the way. It's like Andrew Horwath. Basically, we're complaining about the hospital. We're complaining about insurance rates, this, that, we're gonna fix this. It's like there's no policy other than, okay, we're going to fix it. Well, how are you going to fix it? And then give us details, right? Rather than a press release every 24 hours about what you're going to fix and how you're going to fix it with no numbers.
So here's the election to watch. We got Mike Dancy again for this.
Mammoliti is running for mayor of Wasaga. Holy moly.
Yeah. I wonder what
Giorgio
the issues are that he's going to raise.
Didn't Giorgio, wasn't he the one in Toronto City Councillor that wanted to put the island, the Toronto Island, as a red light district? I think that was Giorgio Mammoliti. That's a brilliant idea, Giorgio.
Oh, so we might see some things happening in
Wasaga Beach. Yeah, you never know. Red light district up in Wasaga.
Maybe a casino, a Ferris wheel or something.
Oh man, you got to wonder, eh? It's like it's one of those things. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting how it pans out on June the 2nd. We're going to find out on June the 2nd and June the 3rd, right? Patrick Brown. how many memberships he signed up, and then what's going on.
I got a question for Mike Dancy, because I see Mike Dancy's post on Brampton. He says, I think he said something the other day, like Patrick Brown is worse than Jagmeet Singh, who left Brampton and just comes back here for votes. Like, I'm not sure, Mike. What do you want somebody like Patrick Brown to do? Right? He can't stay here forever. He's clearly got ambition and the capacity to lead a national party. Why would we as a city not want our mayor to be prime minister? Because who's going to benefit? You think he's not going to, you think he doesn't know the issues in Brampton?
Absolutely. But the thing is, I remember when, what was it? The G7 conference, and who was it with the riding that I forget what the guy's name was, but the riding was up north, and it was a G7, and all of a sudden they got
was it Tony Clement? Was it Tony Clement?
Was it Tony Clement? No, I don't think it was Tony Clement. Anyway, they had this big gazebo. They got this. They got this. They got this. There's all sorts of things. If you're the leader of the opposition or a prime minister, that happens in your people that your constituency and people that can you want to help, right? So
yeah.
I don't think it would be a negative. I think it would be, imagine if you had, so you'd have Jagmeet Singh, the leader of the NDP from Brampton, and then you'd have Patrick Brown, leader of the Conservative Party from Brampton. That's two major leaders from Brampton. How cool would that be?
That would be amazing, right? Brampton is where people go to the next level. We're the launching point. So Mike, you really, if you don't want to do it now, maybe on Twitter, start explaining yourself. Let's see. Here he goes. Here he goes. Okay. Let's put it on screen. He's like a cheating spouse. We don't need to bring him back. He'll leave at any opportunity. He signed up for 4 years, but he's leaving early. So, like Mike, Don and I complain when politicians hang around too long, and now you're complaining when a politician says, 4 years is enough. I did what I was supposed to do. I'm going to go to the next level. And by the way, I'll remember you guys.
Yeah, I mean, 2 terms is who will lead Brampton? That's an interesting question. So, we already have people lining up to be mayor of Brampton. You see it on social media. You've already
I'm waiting to see who loses in the provincial election, especially if it's a sitting MPP, because the job might be available, right? I think it will be. Yeah,
that's an interesting concept too, because if you got an MPP that's, let's just speculate that Pragmeet loses, which I don't think he will. He's got his seat. But if I was Pragmeet, I'd throw my hat in the ring as a mayor of Brampton. Why not?
Yeah, or federally run, but he's got to wait a while. Same thing with Sarah Singh. Same thing with who else? Gurtan Singh.
It's funny, like Jagmeet was here for Carr, but he wasn't. I didn't see him on any sort of rallies for his brother, Gurtan Singh.
Yeah, well, I wasn't paying attention that much. Okay, Mike's response here. Will he remember, though? All he's done is poke the Liberal bear plus the Ford bear. He's leaving the city as an untouchable hotspot.
No, I think Ford had Ford had a hate on for Patrick well before that, and I think that goes back a long way. I think that, don't forget, this would be so funny. This would be so funny if Patrick Brown actually won the leadership of the Conservative Party of Canada, because don't forget, Doug Ford wanted to have that, right? So it would be hilarious that, Doug Ford kicked or was instrumental in getting Patrick out of the Ontario PC party, and then he goes and leapfrogs him going to the federal level. That would.
I heard something interesting recently, and I think there's a lot of truth to this, especially at the provincial level. Patrick Brown baked the cake, and Doug Ford ate it. Right.
Well, yeah, it's like, Patrick was more like, I see more substance in Patrick, I'm sorry, than Doug Ford. I see no substance whatsoever. All I see is get it done, get it done. Well, you had 4 years to get it done. What have you done? You haven't done anything, right? Now you need another 4 years to get what done? So.
So I'm seeing some discrepancy in the thought patterns between Mike Dancy and Karen Dancy. Mike Dancy seems to be very anti-Brown, and Karen Dancy seems to be okay with if Patrick wins.
I think Mike's got he's very bitter. He's a bitter man. I don't know what it is, but he's a very bitter man. It's not like
I'd like to see him shave. I'd like to see him shave.
Oh yeah. Well, shave his head or his beard?
Well, first his beard and then his head.
Okay. All right. Well, that'll be an interesting concept. Let's see if we can do it for him.
You should do a video on that.
Anyway, we're are we how are we doing with students for the Canada Summer Jobs Fest? We good for that?
So we've hired all of our university students, and there are now positions for high school students that we're looking at. So yeah, if you know a student that wants an 8-week job starting at the end of the high school year, please send Dawn at citystudio.ca a link to the student's LinkedIn, and we will get it to the right people.
Yeah, and that's an 8-week, right?
8-week, yeah.
8 weeks.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I'm also saw Mike said on Twitter that he actually does have a hair dye company that sent him product samples, because I think on TikTok people were saying he's old.
Mike is old and crusty before you're supposed to be old and crusty. How do they apply?
So we forgot to mention Karen,
Okay.
because it looks like Karen might be thinking of applying. You have to be over the age of 15, but under the age of 29.
And then you just send a resume, or if you send a resume,
LinkedIn. We don't want
or
resumes.
LinkedIn.
That's 1990s. Resumes
okay.
are
Well,
1990s.
resume on LinkedIn, right? Your LinkedIn link. If you don't have one, do one.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely, Karen. LinkedIn to Dawn.
Yeah. You have my Don at citystudio.ca. Send that to me, and we'll check him out. We'll see if the apple has fallen far enough away from the tree to be able to be considered.
Yes.
Not Mike, I swear. Okay, well that's good.
All right, Don, are you going to be tuning into the meeting?
Yeah, we'll tune in. We'll see what's going on with the block. That's something that, like I said before, there was no notice. Why was there no notice on social media? They put everything together on social media. They seem to be very well putting up selfies and posting about this and that, and the next thing that has no relevance whatsoever. But something like this, they don't post anything, right? So,
well, okay, Don. So I'm going to go get my popcorn, and I will talk to you, or I will talk to you probably tomorrow, but I'll talk to everybody else maybe next week.
And apparently this weekend is what was it? Portuguese flag raising day at Kenwillan Square on Saturday, I think.
Well, so June is Italian Heritage Month,
Yep.
Portuguese Heritage Month, Filipino Heritage Month, and there's another one I forgot.
Okay, so they got a lot of Heritage Month. I know the Italian one, the flag raising, they usually have, hot dogs or sausages and pizza in the Gage Park and stuff like that. And the Portuguese one, I'm sure they'll have the Portuguese tarts and so on and so forth. So something to do on Saturday in downtown Brampton. Other than that, we will see you next week. We're already in June. And thanks for tuning in.
Bye-bye.